Gutshot welcome you to Washington D.C. Good morning. Welcome back to the Gutshot podcast. I'm Sam. I know that we've been on hiatus for approximately 2 weeks or so. I'm just back from the United States for that period. With me is Shamshshire Gil from Malaysian Business. He is standing in for my usual co-host, Chuang, who is now currently in New Delhi. So he'll be back on the 11th. So Shamshshire has gladly come in to fill the role. And Shamshshire, say something about yourself.
Thanks, Sam. Welcome back, firstly.
Yep.
Good to see you again. Hi, I'm Sham. I am the head of publication for Malaysian Business. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, as I was mentioning, actually, I was in Dallas, Texas, for some business matters, and did a few things outside of business in Dallas. Excuse me, sorry. And after which, I took a week break actually to go to Washington D.C. It was my first time in Washington D.C.
Did you run around the White House?
Let's put it this way. The first day I was there, the first morning actually I was there, I didn't realize it, but Zelenskyy was in town, so they barricaded the whole White House area, so you can't go in the whole White House area. So Zelenskyy and the whole entourage of the European leaders were there. So you got Stammer, you got Maloney, and you got all these other guys from the European Union that came to meet up with Trump. So I just saw the coverage on TV. But since that was the case, we decided to actually walk to the National Mall and just take the sights at the National Mall. Starting from the Lincoln Memorial and then walk through the whole National Mall towards the World War II Memorial, the Korean Memorial, and then right up to the Washington Monument and whatnot. Yeah, it was quite an experience. It's actually, I've been all over the United States, to be honest, except for probably the flyover states, which is the Midwest. And what struck me when I was in DC is actually the scale of the empire. Let me put it that way, right? I mean, if you've been to Rome or you've been to Paris, and you've seen the complex around the Palace of Versailles, and you've seen the glory of what is Rome, when you go to Washington D.C., not unlike probably any other cities, old cities such as Chicago, but unlike the modern places like New York City, there's a bunch of historical buildings and monuments that are larger than life.
Correct, agreed.
Yeah. The Lincoln Memorial is actually pretty stunning, for example, So what it does, it actually put into context the wealth that is in place within that particular nation, right?
True.
And unlike Rome or Versailles or Paris, where actually you are looking at past empires, you are basically looking at a nation that still is a modern day empire.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
True.
You know, so that was one of the things that struck me. Interestingly enough, also that was the week whereby was it the week before where Trump actually announced the takeover of the D.C. Metro Police under the federal regulation, right? So and he brought in the National Guards into Washington D.C. To curb criminal activities and bring down crime. And here's the thing that was very interesting to me, because we were staying at somewhere near, it was about, I think maybe 10 minutes of at most 15 minutes walk from the White House, right? So we were probably right in the middle of the tourist area, right? And then we stayed, which is not far from Georgetown, where the Georgetown University is. So all in all, you go to Georgetown, and I was staying in Georgetown as well at the end of the week, which is pretty high-end area and gentrified. I really didn't see any additional troops or police presence more than usual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, except for the time when Zelenskyy came and they had to close the roads, and and you hear a lot of sirens coming in and whatnot. So I reckon that the whole exercise was very much into the outer areas where the inner cities are, and apparently from the news report, the last week or so, maybe past 11-12 days, there has been 0 murders in Washington D.C.
Wow.
Since the takeover by the Trump administration.
Wow.
So, in essence, you got an immediate impact on what he had done. And I think that has never happened in the 35 years of Washington D.C. you know. So, I think this is the funny part, Shamshshire, going back to how I've looked at the situation, is that Trump keep doing things that seem so logical for us, right? But somehow or rather, the left and the Democrat keep pushing against anything that he does and puts themselves in a corner, right? Because they are always in opposition to anything Trump does.
Correct. Even here locally.
Yeah.
Right. No matter what the government does here, our opposition will say that's wrong and push themselves in a corner. So it's understandable.
Well, I think it's even more when actually you think about it, right? When you think about a situation where it is almost clear cut, I would say that this is an 80-20 or even 90-10 issue, and the Democrats are going against it. It just put them in a situation where come the next election, it will become an issue,
Agreed,
and an issue where there's no way the Democrats has got a winning argument. So this has been going on, and Trump seems to me, it's like a genius at playing this game.
He's unpredictable.
He's unpredictable is one thing, but he's picking the right issues that resonate with the voter base.
Yes.
Whether you are Democrat or Republican, I mean, just like immigration, right? I mean, who would be against closing the borders? Who would be against deportation of illegal immigrants, except for a minority in the left?
Agreed.
Agreed. So this is where I think his chess game is just putting it, is just setting up traps. And at the same time, what I see with the mainstream media is they keep biting on things that are irrelevant.
On non-issues,
On non-issues, because why? they are completely focused on Trump is bad, right? They're completely focused on taking down Trump as a character. No. And he will give them that bone, you know.
Yeah, he will.
He will give them that bone. And that's the most stupid thing I've seen. Because he will play this character and they will pick up this bone and they will attack him on something that people, the average voter doesn't care.
Yep.
And they have already been through this for the last 8 years.
Correct.
You know, the fact that after all the attacks on Trump and he still wins,
yeah,
that should at least tell you, hey guys, your strategy is not working.
Yeah, non-existent.
Nobody believes you in terms of bringing him down, in terms of playing all this.
Correct.
Where's your issue?
Yeah, they're building mountains out of anthills on non-issues, not just to seem relevant and just to go against him.
Yeah. I saw this morning, I wonder whether it was CNN or that came out with this issue that Trump apparently seems to be big on a title that he said was given to him by the Europeans, that he was something like the president of Europe. I'm like, I honestly have not heard him say that, but even if he had said that, who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Nobody cares, right? Because why? By this time, everybody knows that Trump will say whatever he wants to say, you know, that comes to his mind at any time.
Yep.
But does that impact the life of the average American? It does not.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
So this fixation is just gonna go away. You know? So that's one thing as an opener for us about my trip. And it was very interesting trip actually. And here's the other thing. I think Shamshshire, you were talking to me about tariffs just now, right? I was looking at it and I was looking at the obviously actually I was spending a lot of my time in a more gentrified area of D.C. And Dallas, and the mood was very good, you know.
Yeah, I saw pictures.
Yeah, the mood was very good. I mean, I was going through Georgetown, and the shops were, the restaurants were full. I mean, we went down to the wharf. Damn, the oysters were cheap. Okay.
I envy you.
So, you know, we had a whole day of just having oysters by the wharf. And the thing is, I mean, so, and if you look at the last report on the CPI, which is what, 2.1, coming down from 2.7%, GDP at 3%, stock market at all-time high.
Yeah.
So this whole gloom and doom about they're going to face recession.
Yeah, initially that was what the opposition was playing at, right? All your tariffs are going to cause the stock market to crash. Yes, at first there was some chaos there because uncertainty. But I think it has stabilized. People are seeing where Trump is bringing everything, the economy to, what he's trying to do, what he's trying to accomplish. In terms of tariffs, what he's doing, I believe, is fair.
Well, here's the thing that I think people, I've said this before in previous broadcasts, right? The global market is not a free market. Let's get that very, very clear. Okay? Anybody who tells you that the global market is a free market is either delusional or naive or absolutely lying to you. Okay? That's point number one. Let me put it again to you. The global marketplace is not a free market. Okay? Every other country in the whole damn world has got tariffs and non-tariff barriers for you to enter their market.
Agreed. Correct.
Right?
Yep.
For a long time, we all know this. All right? But somehow or rather, the orthodoxy, the mainstream has been selling the idea that the US has to be the free market for the world. Right? You're laughing already. Okay? That's like you saying, right? Come to my supermarket, all right, and sell anything you want.
Yep.
Whilst when I go to your supermarket, I gotta pay you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? What the hell's going on? You know? And for the first time, actually every president prior to Trump has been saying the same thing. That they need to open the market in the other countries, in Japan, in China. Obama said that, Clinton said that, even Biden said that, but they never did a thing.
Yep.
Do you know why they never did a thing? It's because they're all beholden to Wall Street. Okay? They're all beholden to Wall Street, where actually, all right, in spite of all the mainstream propaganda, all these other politicians are getting money from Wall Street who actually offshore their production to all these countries that are benefiting from the free market of the US. So that allows them that margin, extra margin for them to actually compensate themselves in huge millions of dollars compared to the offshoring of all the manufacturing outside of the US. So then the US has got no more fundamental manufacturing.
Yeah.
Their people don't have any more manufacturing, and they tell you, hey, we are never going to get manufacturing back, it's just not viable. Bullshit. All right? Let me put it this way. Let me say that again. It's bullshit. Why? Number one, all right, you have automation. Okay? Right. Number two, so you need higher skilled workers that are paid more to manage all the automation. All right? They don't want to invest into that when they can get the cheap labor in Vietnam, their cheap labor in China, their cheap labor in India, and whatnot.
Correct.
And then they make that extra 30% margin that goes into their P&L, that then they, have 50 times valuation on Wall Street and compensate their CEOs in hundreds of billions of dollars.
Wow, yeah.
That's the name of the game. And then what do? They pump money into the super PACs and into all the lobbying groups that are funding all these Democrat politicians and Republican politicians. That's why the establishment political system does not want Donald J. Trump, because here comes a guy who doesn't need your money.
True.
Right? Can you imagine? He had Elon Musk backing him up, and yet, what did he do? He pulled out all the EV mandate that actually hurt Musk's business.
Yes.
He's the only one who will do that. Think about that. And yet, people say he's the most corrupt guy there is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Shamshshire, the guy can't be bought.
Yep.
Right? Well, there are things I don't agree, but we'll talk about that. But I wait for Chuang to come back, because he's more into this crypto thing. I've got some points on crypto I want to clarify with him, But what do you think? I mean, you look at what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. The tariffs. They've got the Canadian has folded. Hey, here's another win for the Gut Short podcast. Canada has folded. right? They have actually now rolled back all their reciprocal tariff on America.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
last week.
I missed that.
Yeah. Guess why? I said already in the last podcast, they cannot win.
They need the American market.
They need the American market, right? The American market represents 77% of their destination.
Correct.
How are you going to swing it elsewhere? You're just killing your own manufacturers,
Yeah.
right? As far as the US is concerned, right? You want to put, okay, I'll just put a reciprocal tariffs on you. Well, I'll handle it for a while, you know, because what people don't get is the GDP of the American GDP per capita is about 80,000 US dollar per annum. Let's go by data, Shamshshire. Let's go by data. Okay, US per capita GDP is $80,000 per annum, approximately 2024 figure. Okay, India GDP, if I'm not mistaken, is around 3,000 US dollar per capita. Okay, China GDP is about 11,000 US dollar per capita. Right? So I'm segueing into China and India. Okay? Now, America has put 50% tariffs on Indian products.
Yeah.
So there was a CNN what do you call headline that says that is Trump tariff pushing India and China towards each other. Okay, let me give a reality check. The world is not that difficult to understand actually. Global geopolitics, global commerce, actually pure commerce is not that difficult to understand. All right.
True.
Our what do you call economists, all right, based on their models of theoretical economics. With all due respect, don't know shit. Okay? They sit in their ivory tower, they have 2 variables, 3 variables, and then they make their conclusion and they tell it to the mainstream media, and the mainstream media runs with it because it fits the narrative that they want to tell.
Yes.
Okay? Let me give you the reality check. So, China export to America is approximately, if I'm not mistaken, $480 billion per annum,
Yes.
right?
Around that.
Around that. India export to US is about, I believe, not even 100 billion per annum. I think it's around 80 billion per annum. I think at most.
I'm not too sure myself.
Yeah, I gotta check my number. But that's Penny. You got your handphone?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, do a
somewhere.
good quick Google check.
Hold on.
Get my handphone.
Yeah,
Right, there you go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I remember I was double checking. Let's see.
$86.5 billion.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's about 86, and most of them are textiles, apparels, pharmaceuticals, gems, jewelry, and now smartphones. Right?
Yeah.
Now let me put it this way. They're not going to sell the smartphones to China.
No.
China produces more smartphones than anybody else coming out of their ears.
Correct.
Okay? They're not going to sell textiles to China. Textiles,
No market.
China produces more textiles for themselves and everybody else. Okay?
Correct.
What are you going to sell to China that they need from India? Nothing. Okay?
I'm thinking.
Second, what does China produce on behalf of America? Now, more and more of the digital technology is coming out of China and moving elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so that supply chain is changing. Then you've basically gonna look at pharmaceuticals. That's another big export from the US to China. From China to US. So export to China, China to US are machineries, appliances, you know. And all these appliances, for example, these are mechanical and electrical appliances. You can get it from Vietnam, you can get it from Malaysia, you can get it from Indonesia, right? So all of these are coming out from China.
Yep.
So now you want to sell those things to India? Do you know the India GDP is about, as I mentioned, $3,000 per annum? Who's going to buy it? See, there's a mismatch. There's always a mismatch. On top of that, the biggest mismatch is this. China is in a bubble. Okay? When you have the CCP working for decades on the metric of GDP, they are very good at production.
Yeah.
Because allocation of capital through a Marxist system that is a single party system,
Yes.
okay,
control everything.
does not care about P&L.
Yep.
They care about top line, which is GDP, which is revenue. They don't care about the P&L. They don't care about the bottom line, right? Because by the time you hit the bottom line, the CCP official that is in charge has already moved away to his next promotion.
Yep.
All right, because he's already performed well by increasing the GDP growth in his particular region.
Yep. KPI met.
KPI met,
Yep.
right? So this is the problem that China faces. Number one, the society is not a consumption society. They are a saving society. And most of their savings actually end up in property.
Yes.
And what has happened to the property? It's again another bubble that has actually burst in China. So if you've got a crisis of property, okay, of the bubble bursting in the property sector, that is where the savings of the Chinese people are. And then at the same time, they have built up this manufacturing capacity that represent basically a third of the world's production. What does that mean? That means that it's not sustainable because nobody in the whole goddamn world can swallow all your production. And that's why they are running surplus with every other region in the whole world. Because they're producing so much.
Yeah.
And their only choice is actually to dump their products.
Yep.
Hence, that is why you have the EU putting anti-dumping tariffs on Chinese
China.
products. So if you look at it, whatever Trump is doing vis-a-vis China, it may take some time because China has one leverage, which is the rare earth metals.
Yes.
Okay? But that is a short-term problem. And the Trump administration is already addressing that part. So when you have this situation, China is not in a position to actually hold on for long.
True, because they need to keep dumping
Yeah.
products.
And if they cannot keep dumping it, which is what is happening right now, you're going to have unemployment shooting through the roof. That's when you get unrest, and that is the most difficult problem for a one-party system to manage. Alright? Because China, the CCP is only about 90 million people in the CCP party governing about 1.4 billion people based on their census data. I don't believe that census data. However, let me grant them 500 million population. Okay? That's not sustainable for you to manage. Okay? So, whilst you say, why is Trump taking so long to negotiate China? Who cares? Who cares? Because let me put it this way, I just got back from, as I said, I just got back from the States. It was just a reminder whenever you walk into all the supermarkets, okay, and all the retail shops in America, do you know that 70% that is on the retail shop and on the supermarket are actually useless? You don't need to buy those shit.
True.
Right?
True.
It is not a necessity for the people to buy 70% of the item in the supermarket racks in America. It is all luxury. It is all what I call disposable income purchases.
Yes.
It is actually junk. You could not believe if you walk through the aisle of junk foods, there are probably 10 aisles of junk foods of various brands. Why do you need that in America? And if your poor people are buying those junk foods, you better stop them from buying those junk foods and start eating healthy. That's one of the biggest problems in America, bloody obesity.
I mean, even in Malaysia, right?
Yeah. No, think about it, right? Having said that, even in Malaysia, right? Okay, and we are their per capita GDP is 8 times our GDP per capita, right? So they can splurge over all this nonsense. We are only one. We are only 1/8 of what they earn, and our people are idiotically spending on unhealthy foods, right? And all the junks, everybody has got 2 or 3 cars.
And our car prices are stupid.
Compared to America, right? Actually, if you look at it, right, dollar to dollar, living in America is cheap. Do you know why, guys? Living in America is cheap compared to even in Malaysia. Because the level of corruption in America is so much lower.
Correct.
The level of corruption, the level of deregulation is so much lower. In Malaysia, our tariffs, our non-tariff barriers are absolutely none. I can buy the same car in America for a third the price that I buy here in Malaysia, even with the exchange rate.
Actually, an American friend of mine came and then we went to the Porsche showroom.
Right.
And he was like, wow, you guys are rich you have to be rich to be able to afford a Porsche in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Because he said, comparing the prices, right? Even after conversion, dollar for dollar, right?
Yeah.
Porsches in Malaysia are so much more expensive compared to...
Yeah, even after you make the exchange rate conversion, it's ridiculous. Right?
Exactly. So he was like...
even you take dollar to dollar, right? I was going on happy hour oysters. It's about $2.
I hate you.
Per piece.
But okay.
Yeah. Go to Bangsa, tengok. And see how much we pay for our oysters.
I take one enough lah, thank you.
A good steak is what? $30?
But you see, the thing is, right, when you talk to Malaysians,
right,
we like to compare. You pay $30 for a steak in the States, right? But if you take that and it's
It's still cheaper, you know.
120 ringgit here.
Right.
But then I tell
That's a
them,
good steak, I can tell you.
yeah, but then I'll tell them they earn in USD.
Yeah.
We earn in ringgit.
But think about it, right? A $30 is only 120 ringgit, right? Try get a 300-gram steak in a good restaurant in KL.
Oh.
You're looking at about 200 to 300
Yeah,
ringgit,
exactly. Correct.
right? So anyway, going back to our story,
sorry.
right? So going back to our story, you already can see, right? As I said, the US as a global marketplace is the richest marketplace and the most consumer-based marketplace the world has. Let me put it this way, the adage of commerce, the customer is always right.
Yep.
You know, when you have that purchasing power, you bow to it.
I agree. I mean, I think last year I saw on Facebook someone selling leaves, Malaysian leaves on Amazon for like $1 for that big leaf kind of thing, right? And I'm like, wow. You know, you can't sell leaves in Malaysia, but you're selling leaves in America and there's a market. You know?
Yeah.
So what you say is true.
It's like, so then that's why America consume everything from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know? So when we do like that, right? When people understand that part, and actually what is happening with India is very simple. Okay? India is actually doing the 50% tariffs on India is because of the purchase of the Russian sanctioned oil.
Yes.
Okay? And, you know, like it or not, you may say it's unfair, right? Because why are you not penalizing China? Why are you penalizing India? But then again, let's put it this way. As I said, if you have the power, you will play the power whichever you think can work first. And in India's case, at one point, they were very insignificant in terms of their purchase of sanctioned oil.
Yeah.
But right now, it has gone up within the last 3 years alone. It has gone up to about a third of their purchase of Russian oil, which means those are the money that is funding the Ukrainian war for the Russian. So in order for America to be able to bring the Russian to the negotiating table,
they have to cut it off.
They have to cut off the cash flow, right? So for India, the question they have to ask is very simple. You know, I always say this about this sanctioned oil, right? When there is a sanctioned oil, that means there's a delta between what is a marketplace, what the market is, and what you will pay for the sanctioned oil. But if you buy the sanctioned oil cheap and you can sell it at the marketplace, somebody is making that delta.
Correct.
Right? And in all in all situation, in all our third world countries, let me put it this way, right? The only people who are actually making money out of all these deltas are all the corrupt politicians and their cronies. Okay, the normal folks are gonna be paying not the cheap oil, okay, but they're gonna be paying what the market is going to ask for.
Yes.
Right? So for anybody who don't understand what's going on, wake up and smell the roses. All right?
The gasoline.
Yeah. So, you know, okay, it's nothing against the Indians.
Yeah.
All right? It's about the powers that be and how you're going to control geopolitics and how you're going to make the world a peaceful place. Right? So, if India thinks or China thinks they can sell to each other and go ahead, you know, dude, you guys must get one thing about the Americans. All right? These are not the Democrats that are running the place. Okay? Let me explain to you a bit about the Democrat mindset. The Democrat mindset is about feelings. Okay? Their platform is ideology. Feelings does not give you business.
Yep.
Feelings does not lift the welfare or the safety of your citizens.
Yep.
Okay? Facts, data, pure business thinking is the one that is going to make the life of the citizens of any nation better. And that's what the Trump administration is doing. Okay? They have no qualms about doing the tariffs. Why? Because that is going to deliver prosperity for Americans by bringing in back jobs after you have deregulated, after you have cut taxes, okay? After you have allowed energy to come down, okay? What are we looking at now? We are looking in excess of like what? Almost 2 trillion, if not more, in terms of actual real investment income to the United States in just a period of less than 8 months.
That's the short-term effect, right?
I mean, you're going to see this down the, all this money coming in will probably be coming in, say, in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
When you will see the impact.
Correct.
Right?
And what Americans won't see is the impact, Trump's impact, positive impacts. Short term, you can see it, but the big impacts will come after his term.
Oh, it's definitely gonna. I would say that actually, I will give it 2 years. 2 years within a period of 24 months, all these investments, all this deregulation will actually have a tremendous impact on their economic well-being, right? And then the tariffs. Say what you want. Again, every time I see the mainstream media, they will put a negative spin on it. I am very simple. Even if you do 10 to 15% tariff, okay, that is good enough. And tariff, to answer your question, you asked me about, What was the question you asked me just before?
What's the difference between tariffs and taxes? Because in this sense, some people don't know what's the difference. One, they misconstrue it, right? Thinking like the 25%, we're getting taxed 19%. Malaysia is getting taxed 19% tariffs, right? Some people don't understand that. They say, it won't affect us, it only affects Americans, right? So, one, what's the difference between tariffs and taxes, right? So people can understand this. And impact to, say, for example, Malaysia, right? When we do the silicon chips, we send it to America, it gets a tariff, right? Are Malaysians impacted after that?
Well, it's actually very simple. Tariffs are taxes, okay? Tariffs is a form of tax, okay? It's basically import duty,
okay?
Right? Now, if you have no choice and you have to import it because you have no choice, okay, your seller, your exporter is going to tell you import duty is 15%. Okay, I'm going to pass that 15% to you. Take it or leave it. Okay, which means that the importer will pay for that 15% and then pass the 15% to the consumer. That results in inflation on that particular product. Okay, so that's what the economist and the mainstream media is playing at. Okay, as if that is the standard situation. Okay, but imagine this. I'm now the rich guy. Okay, you want to sell me this chair. Another guy want to sell me the same chair. Another guy want to sell me the same chair. Maybe not the same, maybe approximately the same. I've got 5 people trying to sell me chairs. And I tell them, in order for you to sell me the chairs, you have to pay me 15%. First, before it enters into, before I put it to my consumer, okay, all right, you got to pay a tax of 15%, all right, to my government, okay. You come and tell me, my price is $100 plus 15%. I say, hey, what do you, I say, okay, never mind. What are you gonna sell me? No, I'll sell you $100 plus 5% more. So $105.
Yeah. As
Okay.
opposed to 115.
Right.
Yeah.
I already not buying from you. I'm already looking at this guy.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Another guy comes in and I say, I'll sell you 95. You got the sale.
Correct. Correct. Because all he wants to do is enter the market.
Correct. So what inflation are you talking about?
True.
It's a question of leverage. If you have the leverage, the exporter is screwed.
Correct.
So how does it impact the exporter? That means his margin, he has to swallow that 15% into his margin.
Yep.
Right? And if he cannot swallow, he go bust. That's the impact on you as the exporter. So if Malaysia or Indonesia or Thailand or Vietnam, who are basically selling almost the same thing to America, cannot swallow that
Tariff.
19% tariffs that I have put, okay, they're not going to be able to supply.
Yeah.
However, I guarantee you,
They will swallow it.
they will swallow it.
Yep.
If not one, two. If not two, three.
Yeah.
Why? Because they've got a fat margin. Number
Correct.
one. Number two, because not just that, now their government has to think, what have I over-regulated? What taxes have I put on my manufacturers that increase their costs?
Yeah.
That in order for me to allow my people to keep on being employed and not throw me out of office, that I have to make their product cheaper so that they can overcome the tariffs that everybody is trying to compete against each other. So the question becomes then for the exporter nation, how do you make your product competitive?
True. Yep.
Right? Because for the importer, I got choice. And not just that, I don't need to buy this chair.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? So, okay, I don't buy this chair from you, I pay another $200 more. Let's say if I pay another $200 more. Frankly, I think the Americans can afford it.
You
Yeah.
think so?
They can afford it.
I mean, you were in the States recently.
Yeah.
People
They-
were spending.
People were spending, they can afford it. The problem is, you know, you've got, actually, if you look at, I mean, the Democrats keep talking about the poor people, right? But the problem is this, they keep giving welfare without educating them to actually become productive citizens, right? But these people are the ones that are basically buying the junk foods.
Yeah. The cheap items and whatnot.
Yeah. And this is the other part of the Trump administration that I actually find it very admirable, which is what Bobby Kennedy is doing, right? Because you really need to change the whole dietary habit of the population. It is very unhealthy, right? Why are you buying sodas, Americans? Why are you drinking sodas? Sugar are poison. All those potato chips are poison. Instead of buying that, why don't you just drink water?
But I think water is expensive there, right?
No, it's not. You can drink tap water. I go to Australia, I drink tap water. In Australia, tap water is
Safe.
the whole thing. It's only us in Malaysia that we buy mineral water in bottles because we got so much money. I tell you, I was like, I was at my daughter's in Australia, right? And they're drinking tap water, right? And I'm so uncomfortable because I'm so used to buying mineral water from 7-Eleven. You know, it is such a culture change for me, right?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Why are you drinking soda, guys? Right?
I guess because it's the water doesn't have taste.
It's habit.
Yeah.
Right? It's habit. And dude, let me put it this way. I used to, I lost 25 kilo in 8 months by stopping drinking and eating sugar, carbohydrates.
25 kilos.
Yes. In 8 months.
So your next episode.
So for the last 3 years, I've practically stopped eating carbohydrates and sugars and sodas and all this.
Wow.
Yeah. And you're healthy. My blood pressure is a lot better than I feel like I'm 45. So why are people living an unhealthy life, eating unhealthy food that are junk? And if those companies go bankrupt, so be it. Go and do something else.
I guess this is mainly the lower income.
And I look at actually when you go to the higher income bracket, right? They're actually more health conscious because they have more knowledge.
More knowledge, and I guess.
I mean, just if you've gone through YouTube, right? You can see the difference between Japanese school children and what they eat at school, and American school children and what they are given at school, right? That alone should tell you a lot.
Yeah.
Right? There are so many things that could be corrected for such a rich country, and I actually when I look at, I've been looking at this in the inner cities, for example. Why are the inner city people having such nice cars?
Why?
I don't know.
Maybe they can tell us.
Yeah. Please tell us.
Yeah.
All you people, please tell us, why are they buying all this? When I went to school in Florida, I bought me a Toyota that cost me $200. It lasted me for 4 years. Okay? I'm happy with it. Right? I was on poverty. I live well.
You were in the States, right? Were you able to go grocery shopping?
Actually, I didn't really go grocery shopping. I mostly go grocery shopping when I'm in Australia. I rarely go grocery shopping in the States unless I end up in a marketplace and just for fun.
Yeah, I should have asked you to do that because then we can compare basket size, right?
Well, the thing is, let's put it this way. My wife likes to go and buy pharmaceuticals in
Pharmacist warehouse in Australia.
In the US.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because their pharmaceuticals are cheaper and more available. Yes. Okay. That's one. Can you believe that? Can you believe that my wife goes and buy pharmacy stuff in America and in Australia?
Because it's much cheaper than...
Because it's much cheaper and much more available.
Oh.
Okay?
I always had that concept, the preconception that, insulin shots and whatnot were so much more expensive.
Well, I mean, there are certain things that are, the prescribed things are much more expensive.
Okay.
And the health system is much more expensive. And that's got to do a lot with actually how the corporatization of the medical industry in America and the commercialization of it. I mean, that would be another topic.
Yeah.
Right. But in terms of pharmaceutical, I think compared to us, in terms of textile, in terms of quality goods, right? I would put it this way. Personally, for me, I actually do not shop in Malaysia.
Yeah, you're rich.
No, I'm not. No, the reason is very simple. If you want to have good quality stuff at good prices,
Yeah.
go and buy in the States. Yeah. I actually shop for clothes and shoes in the States.
My sister's in Australia. So Levi's will have their...
Oh yeah. They're cheap.
Yeah, dirt cheap, right?
Dirt cheap compared to here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if Americans come here and look at the prices we have, they go, what the hell? Right? And guess why? Tariffs. Okay, guys? And that's when you have no choice.
That's the gut shot.
Yeah, that's the gut shot, guys. All right? So, I think, and not just that, you're looking at even, talking back to the tariffs, right? Tariffs is already going to be looking at about 3 trillion to pay down on the debt that America has.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Which is a big thing that no other administration has done. And why is Trump not getting credit for all this? I don't get it. Immigration, borders are closed. Illegal immigration is almost down to zero, right? People are self-deporting. Crime is down. Inflation is down. What was the high inflation during the Biden era? 9%, guys. All right. GDP is up. Stock market is up. Wages are up. Taxes has been cut permanent. No taxes on tips. All sorts of and all deregulation is coming. No subsidies on renewables. Which are actually, why are you subsidizing the corporations? Are you nuts? And you talk about, and the left talk about, oh, we want free market. Go fly kite. Right? So I really believe, the more I look at it, I'm a policy wonk. Okay? I'm a business guy. All right? I don't look at, take whatever his personality is, right? To me, what Trump is doing from a policy standpoint is absolutely making America great again. Is that not what you want? Is not what the world needs? We can't have the Chinese Navy chasing the Philippines out of their own territorial waters. We need America's 7th Fleet to protect the sovereignty of the Southeast Asian nations, because we can't fight the Chinese fleet.
Yep. Agreed.
So all you guys who are so pro-China, wait till they come after your backyard. Oh, they've been peaceful. Yeah. When did they ever own Tibet? So anyway, I think that and actually part of the reason I went off to US is to look at investment opportunities. In the oil and gas sector, because I think the the conditions for investment in America is actually on the rise, and the policies that are being taken is actually very pro investor and very pro business. So there you go. Are you not now understand why these investments are? Hey, I remember when the media and everybody else was saying there's no way Apple will be able to manufacture in the US. Guess what? It's happening now.
I do believe that some naysayers, right, are just because they don't see it, they don't see the full effect yet. It's too short a term, 8 months, for them to, so they're still saying no.
I think most of the thing is because more it's a political divide and ideology. Okay, throughout my adult life, especially for me who's educated in America, being very in touch with the culture and always go back, what I realize is actually the mainstream media is very much pro-left, pro-democrat, but over the years, especially after Bush, the dichotomy between the left and the right has been very much more stark, in a sense that it has got to the point where the media and the Democrats are hand in hand deliberately working towards actually demonizing whatever the Republican Party does. Okay, now here's the interesting part, is that I used to be I call myself a liberal, at least in a Malaysian context, right? I'm basically a liberal.
Yeah.
Right? And actually, even when I was in the US, I think my favorite president, even up to Obama, I actually thought, I admire Clinton a lot. I thought Clinton was a brilliant president. I may not agree with some of his policies, but I thought his execution was brilliant. What he achieved for a president is, and as a politician, is remarkable, right? I was too young for the days of Reagan, right? I thought that the Bush administration was very much controlled by the neocons and Dick Cheney. So, to me, when I look at the American political landscape, what I saw was an establishment Republican Party, and what has morphed from the working class Democratic Party, it has now become an establishment Democrat Party that has taken over big business from the Republican. So actually the whole pendulum has swung, as far as I look at it, because when Trump came into the scene, he was basically the populist. Okay, it is very strange to think that actually a billionaire to be the populist candidate, right? In essence, he has more, to a certain extent, in common with Bernie Sanders than the Democrat Party itself, right? Except for, Bernie being a socialist and Trump being very much a working class entrepreneur type of mentality. But the corporate Wall Street is very much with the liberal Democrats. So that is why we see a shift in the voter registration and also voter support towards the Republican Party under the MAGA banner of Trump. So the question now is, how far after Trump does MAGA continues
Yes.
with the next guy in line?
Yeah.
If you ask me, I do think that JD Vance actually quite embody that
The MAGA
brand. Okay, albeit probably a more softer version compared to Trump. You know.
Well, I mean, sorry, cut you off.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. No.
If
you're
you
not
were
cutting-
Trump,
yeah.
you came up with the MAGA brand, you have to go hard. You know, you're setting foundations, right? The next person that comes out is JD Vance, right? He's softer.
Well, if he ends up,
He's softer, right?
Yeah.
But he just needs to build.
upon the foundation.
Yeah.
I think that not only that, I think the interesting part about this Trump administration is that they have had 4 years to plan. I have never seen an administration come in fully ready to
Yeah,
do
just
whatever.
signing
It
things,
was
right?
like clockwork. And this group of cabinet, I am very impressed. Star among them, I think, is Bassett and JD Vance. I think, say what you want. A lot of people don't like Hegseth because he's so much in your face and he seems to be, and he's not a general or whatnot. But the whole ethos or the whole point of bringing him in was actually to revamp the military to be a fighting force. And that's exactly the leadership that the American military needs. And the undersecretaries are the one that are going to do the administrative part. So Trump knows exactly what he's doing. His team with his chief of staff, which is Susie Wiles, has been magnificent. Caroline Leavitt at the as the press secretary has been stellar, in my opinion. You know, so I think that the Democrats are in a bind. Not only are they in the wrong side of all the issues, they are in the 20% of all the issues. Okay? And I think if Trump pulls off these economic initiatives that all he's doing, not to mention, I do think at the end of the day, he's going to settle Ukraine and he's going to settle Gaza. It's difficult, but it's going to get settled one way or another. Let me put it this way, one way or another, because it's very simple. Ukraine cannot sustain without American involvement, right? The Europeans, I was laughing at the Chancellor from Germany, you know, practically lecturing Trump that you need a ceasefire. And Trump, to his credit, was very calm about it, right? And he just reiterated it doesn't matter to him, that all he needs is peace, which is exactly what any businessman will tell you. I don't really care whether you want to buy my test product, but if you buy my product as a whole, I win the war.
Yeah.
Right? Who gives a shit? Right? The problem is actually, if you really were to ask me about the Ukraine war, it is not America's war.
It's not.
It is the neocons war.
Yeah.
It is the war of the deep state, of the old administration, of the CIA and the MI5 of UK and the European Union trying to bring down Putin, and Ukraine being the proxy in their fight, right?
Correct.
So if you say, oh, you can't trust the American, who gives a shit? Because this is the new America, and the new America is no longer the neocon America.
Yep.
It is a new day. Deal with it.
Yeah, getting things right now.
Yeah. Right? And this whole thing of actually saying that there's going to be, you cannot go to the Russians and say, I want back all my territory. They ain't going to happen. They ain't going to happen. Every war that we know of, you lose territory.
Yeah.
Okay? Be realistic. Right? War has consequences.
Yep.
And the same will go with Gaza. Right? I've always said this. The Palestinians had got their territory way before October 7th. All right? They had a GDP growth actually.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
All right? So why the hell did you launch October 7th? Very easy. Because Saudi Arabia and all the GCC countries were coming to be normalized with Israel. And Iran does not want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you reap what you sow. If you don't know how to live in peace with your neighbor, okay, and say what you want, I'm gonna repeat this shit. Karma is a bitch. Okay? Our people in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, has got two boogeymen. The first is that we have a lot of Chinese in our population. And they have a sentimentality towards their motherland, China.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, when it becomes America versus China, they are blind to what China is all about.
Okay.
Okay? China does not even care about their own people, guys. All right?
Well, I don't know. Back to differ.
Well, yeah, they don't. All they care about is actually very simple. All right? It's domination of their population. If you say something against the CCP, you disappear. Just ask Jack Ma. If you can do that to Jack Ma, imagine us fools on the streets.
Yeah.
Okay? Why do you think what is happening in China today in terms of the societal control after Tiananmen Square? Because the reform is lost. That's what happened with reforms. When you do reforms, there's going to be chaos, right?
True. Very true.
So it's very simple, right? So I think if they are going to do that within their border, and they will do that across their border, just go to Africa and ask the Africans. What's happening down there in Africa right now? With all the projects that the Chinese is doing. Okay? It's neo-colonialism all over again.
Sri Lanka even.
Yeah. But, hey, we are always just like the Malays, and the Muslims, they cannot get past their religion. Okay? So they look at Palestine, they don't see where their own people is wrong. All they see is victimhood and how the Muslims are oppressed, so-called, by the proxy of America, which is Israel. But Israel is the only democracy over there. Challenge me if I'm wrong that Israel is not the democracy over there. Right?
Actually, you're right.
And not just that. Okay? Let's ask ourselves this question. In the whole, every time when I talk to leftist liberals in the West, they keep talking about white colonialism, Western colonialism. They seem to forget that the longest colonialism in human history is actually carried out by the Muslim Empire. Throughout history of Muslim society, from the day it was born, it was war. It was war of subjugation, and that's how the empire expanded. And we go to school in our religious classes, and we were taught about all these wars, and we Muslims are proud about it. Dude, wake up. Why are you proud about being colonizers of other people? You had no business to actually go and conquer Jerusalem. That's not your place. Why are you there? Why are your people then go to Constantinople and conquered Constantinople, that is today Istanbul?
I'll send you a video on this.
It is, that happened in I believe it was in the 1400s, right? And if not for the siege of Vienna in the 1600s, okay, where actually the Ottoman Empire was the Ataturks. I'm sorry. It's the Turks were defeated. Okay, the whole of Europe would have been colonized by the Muslim Empire. And all the slaves in Africa were actually traded by the Muslim Empire. Oh yeah. The biggest slave traders in the world throughout history, and the biggest slave owners in the world in history are the Muslims. And yet you stupid Western liberals keep talking about your colonialism as if that was the worst thing that happened in human history. Give me a break. Have some dose of reality. Okay? If the British did not conquer Malaysia, we would still be having slaves today. The British were the first nation on earth to actually abolish slavery. We are not taught all this. America tried teaching all this in American history. That actually is the Arabs and the Muslims that took the blacks out of their hometowns, and the blacks themselves were actually taking their own people as slaves and selling it to outside. Give me a break. So anyway, I've digressed, have I?
Yes, very much. We turned left.
Yeah, we've come back and all that. So, when we look at it, right, the force of good, at the end of the day, are people who are free.
Yeah.
Okay, are people who can debate and not censored. If you want to know who is your oppressor, ask yourself this question: who you cannot criticize?
Yeah, who censors you?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay? So I think to end this whole conversation, right? Well, it's been a one-way conversation.
Yeah, I know. but it's imparting knowledge. We came to talk about your trip.
Yeah, I know. I came to talk about the trip and what I saw and how I look at it. So maybe to wrap the bow.
Yeah.
Right. It was a magnificent trip. It was Dallas was a bit hot. Let me put it this way.
Hotter than...
Oh yeah, the heat is different.
Yeah, because it's not humid, right?
Yeah, and actually when I went down, I mean, I was lucky I was not down in Houston because they said it was even worse.
Whoa.
The last trip I was down in Texas. I was in Houston, but it was in the winter, so that's not too bad. But you know, summer in Dallas is another thing altogether. But DC was very nice, so we had a good time in DC. I hope to go back again. I think if I were to go back to DC, I would really like to be able to carry out interviews with certain people. Yeah. I think we should try and work on that. So in the meantime, I think, hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with me.
Anytime. I want to leave this podcast on a good note on your trip to America.
Right.
Right? So, what restaurant would you suggest to any Malaysian to visit when they go to Washington D.C?
Wow. That's a tough question, man, because I'll tell you one thing. Almost everything is good, right? I was in Texas. Let me go to Texas first, right?
Yeah.
I was in Dallas. I was in this place called the Stockyard. We were at this place called, I think it's called Cattleman's.
All right.
Damn, the steak was absolutely gorgeous. Okay.
Americans do know their steaks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in DC and we were at this place by the Potomac called Rappahannock. And we just gorge on oysters. Yeah. In Georgetown, you cannot go wrong. But almost everything is good, right? Yeah, and you know, I did what I wanted to do, which is I dropped by the stairs of the Exorcist because it's one of the top 5 favorite movie. Yeah, so I had to take a photo of that. Yeah, and I tried to recreate the scene, but you know, it didn't. I didn't want to break my neck. So anyway, I would say DC has one of the DC food scene is first class. We went to a jazz club actually, which was pretty dope. It was I think it's called Blues Alley.
Blues Alley.
Yeah, Blues Alley Club. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. So on that note, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys.
See you guys.